Every person will have a different relationship with time. As a child, it's different. As a young adolescent, it's different.
Can I say something? This is absolutely scary. The biggest constant in our life is not constant.
It's not constant.
New month, new episodes.
Absolutely, Ildi. What are we talking about this month?
I'm a bit excited about this. I know that all these smart guys who are helping us doing this
Yes.
are saying, oh, you have to have call to action and this and that and whatever, and
Yes.
you have to give value and so on. But this month, I think we're going to be a bit playful,
Yes.
right?
Yes, let's do that.
And the topic of the month is, why on earth would you like to make friends with your time?
Exactly. And why would you do it? And why would you need it?
And what's that?
And what's that? And what does that look like?
Because, our tagline is make friends with your time.
Yes.
And often people miss it or, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. And because they don't really know what that means.
But there's a reason behind it.
Yes.
And I think it's the essence of everything that we do.
And we
right?
don't do anything without a purpose. Let's just put it out there.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. Well, we're... Yeah.
Yes.
We're treasurers.
Well, you will know exactly why we say that, because we will talk about why we don't do anything without a purpose. But let's pull it back and talk about what we were going to talk about today.
I was thinking just to start on a much lighter note and to bring that relationship a bit closer. Let's talk about time.
Oh my God, our favorite topic, isn't it?
Absolutely. And maybe even a little bit about history of time, because we never get to really talk about that.
No, we don't.
And it's fascinating.
Yes.
I absolutely love this topic.
Yes.
It's one of the reasons why we do what we do. And
Yes.
While everything started with the time management side of things, at the end of the day, it comes down to that personal relationship with time. And
100%.
I think in this podcast, anyone who comes on a journey with us will learn so much about their own personal relationship with time. And why is that important? How is it going to shape everything that you do?
Yeah.
So let's start with this whole thing called time. Because I don't think that we spend enough time to think, no pun intended, to think about what does time mean?
Yeah. And look, time as a concept has been something that human beings have been tossing around and trying to figure out for years and years and years and ages upon ages. It is a human construct to begin with. Let me just say that. We have been trying to decode this for God knows how many centuries now.
I agree.
And we still don't have it down pat. Let me tell you that.
We'll never have it down
No.
pat. And there's a reason why.
Yeah.
Right?
There is a big reason
maybe
why.
in episode 4 we'll start just scraping the surface as to why.
Yes. And look, one of the things, the reason why this concept does not become that clear for anybody is because, first of all, we have never really we've never really understood how do seasons change? What does that look like? What is a starting point? What is the end point? We have tried to kind of define that over the ages. But one of the reasons why none of this becomes clear to human beings is because the way our brains are developed, right? Now, let me bring it a little bit closer. We were talking about history of time, right? Let me bring it a little bit closer in
you're
time. Let's
so
not
freaking good at making this so vague.
I am making it vague. There's a reason why, because time is a vague concept, right? So it's important for us to go from being vague and making it a little bit more specific.
Devil's advocate moment here.
Yes.
What's vague? I'm a scientist. I love science.
Yes.
Time is not vague. I can measure it.
Yes, exactly. Everybody of us can measure it, but it has gone through a lot of phases of trying to figure it out from being vague. Like sun up, sun down was a vague.
It's not vague. It has to do with the planets.
Yes, it has to do with the planets. It is scientific. But again, the way we described it has always been vague, right? It remains vague because sun up, sun down is very different in every part of the world.
Absolutely.
Let's just say that. Because if you live in Iceland, your sun is going to be up for 6 months of the year and it's going to be sundown for 6 months of the year. If you live somewhere in the middle, it's almost the same time every day.
There's no change.
There's no change.
Yeah.
Again, if you stay in the southern hemisphere, it changes according to the season. All of this, and hence it remains vague, right? Now, let's bring it a little bit to the context of making it specific. Because it's so vague in different parts of the world, the way you relate to it is going to be vastly different. We all measure it in the same way. Yes, we figured out how to measure this to the nanoseconds now in the modern world.
You're wrong there. It's not nanoseconds anymore. It's actually related to an atomic clock.
And which breaks it down a little bit more further. I agree to that. But the way we relate to each and every second that passes is going to be vastly different, right?
I suppose we'll get to that idea in a second. But let's go back one more step, because I think one of the most important things that we need to remember that today, it seems like there is no life without time.
Yes.
You have to be there on time for this, for that, for whatever. Time drives the way that we do things. Time drives the way that we sleep. Time is a major factor in every little thing that we do. And we expect our children and our adult population to understand and relate to time in exactly the same way.
Yes.
And I suppose the big problem in that sentence is exactly the same way.
Yes.
And you'll tell us exactly why this doesn't work.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to point out is that the way that we look at time changed so much in a very short period of time.
Yes.
That when you start thinking about it, it baffles you. We went from literally looking at the seasons,
Yes.
like you said,
Yes.
to having these things on our not when I say that's a mini computer on my wrist, not a clock or a watch,
No.
as in its classic sense, with a bit of a midway stop in the mechanical era of time.
Yes.
And nowadays, I mean, we grew up in the same kind of space. We didn't know what time means. We were really driven by a rhythm of life rather than a watch.
Exactly.
While today's generation, from a very fragile young age, they grow up with the exact science of time. And then we didn't even touch on the fact that time does pass differently depending on where you are.
Absolutely.
At the top of the mountain and down at the beach, you will measure a different kind of time.
Absolutely.
And then we didn't even go into the science fiction side of things,
No.
which, time slows down, time speeds up, and all these other things that come with it, with
Yes.
the idea of physics brought in, science brought in this whole picture. But when we go back to the right now, I think one of the biggest issues is that we put this pressure on how we use time.
Yes.
And that's where this comes in. And I've heard this from you
Yes.
for the first time. And I think it's mind-blowing.
Yes, exactly. So let me just go back a little bit. And I like how you said that a lot of the times we were driven by the rhythm of life.
Yeah.
Right? The rhythm of life was a very simplistic way of looking at the passage of time. However, that rhythm of life concept hasn't completely gone away. But what we have now done is we have added a layer of really measuring it to the atomic time level. Now, rhythm of life has stayed where it is, but then we have taken it to the next level and added this complicated layer on top. What that has done is that while your brain develops different neural pathways based on the rhythm of life, because we come into the world knowing when to sleep, we learn when to sleep, when to wake up based on the way the sun moves, whether you want to believe that or not, right? Because that's how
and other
hormones
crazy
and
bits.
everything, every little bits. But as a baby, how do you create your circadian rhythm is by the sun coming up and the sun going down. So the rhythm of life starts getting built right from the get-go, right? You don't know how to look at a clock when you are born. That comes later on, and you learn it.
How dare we not know?
Exactly. But as much as we like to believe that we would know, but we learn that, right? Which means we've added a layer on top. So let me just reel that in. What does that mean? It means that your brain has created different neural pathways on understanding how to relate to time. What that means is that there's not a single area of your brain that will really compute how you can translate the concept of time into the modern world.
So does this mean that when I think about time, it's not like tasting something or seeing something or hearing something?
It's not, because every person will have a different relationship with time based on how you have learned things around time. One, have your parents told you about it? What cultural environment have you grown up in? One, have your teachers taught you about it? One, have your friends talked to you about it? Also, it changes as you go through your phases of life. Right? As a child, it's different. As a young adolescent, it's different. When you get into the workforce, it will be again different because you're using time and relating to it differently. And as you grow through your progress through life, it will start becoming different again.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
This is absolutely scary.
It is.
Because there's the biggest constant in our life is not constant.
It's not constant. It's not constant. And we expect it to be constant, but it is not, right? We expect that from everybody. We want that to be uniform more than constant amongst everybody, which it is not.
So does this mean that all 8+ billion of us on this planet will have a different take on time?
Absolutely. 100%. And it will be vastly different from which part of the world you come from.
Okay, now let me just reel this into my world, which is productivity.
Yes.
So how on earth are we expecting to be the same way productive if none of us thinks about time the same way?
Yep. And that's the fallacy of thinking about it, right? That you are expecting everybody to be and work and progress in the same way as you do things in a workplace.
I suppose if you wonder now, how is this whole thing going to affect me? It's important to just say that when you say things like, and we're going to come to this episode in a short time, things like just do what I do, or things like be productive, go figure, what's that? All these things will now need to be redefined.
100%.
And need to be redefined based on your perception of time.
100%.
And I think this is why.
And we'll unpack a little bit more of that in the next episodes as we progress. But it's very important to understand. And if you're a business owner thinking about this and you are wanting to go back and tell to your people, be productive, just rethink that conversation.
Absolutely. And look, that's why we said that it's so important to actually make friends with your time.
Yes.
Because often what we see is that people are pushed and pressured into thinking about time in a certain way.
Yes.
And I think that it's so important to unpack that
Yes.
a little bit and help people see what their own true relationship with time looks like. And how many times do we hear that from people around us who say, oh my God, for the first time in my life, I'm allowed to be who I am.
Yes, and this has happened to us, so it's a true story, that people do start thinking, oh my God, I can really express myself the way I feel. You know?
Whether we like it or not, this whole relationship with time is affecting a lot of things, is affecting the way that you think about your productivity, your work, your home life.
Yes.
What does that let's call it what it's called in the big wild world, like work-life balance. I absolutely hate it, and we'll unpack that too at some stage, I'm pretty sure. It affects everything. And once you start understanding why you do the things you do the way you do them, suddenly things will start shifting, because you suddenly have permission to be yourself and to tap into your true genius and your true talents in a different manner, right?
100%.
So now that we got there with the making friends with time, so what will this look like in the next episode?
Well, we will unpack a lot more around how your relationship with time looks like. Now, if you have liked what you've seen here today and would love to learn more around what time means and what productivity means, don't forget to subscribe and follow us.